Some horrors don't hide in the dark. They creep into the mind, they whisper in your ear, and if you believe them long enough, they become real. This is the idea behind Nocebo, a psychological horror born from an Irish-Filipino collaboration.
Did you grow up there?
No, more south. You know the Philippines?
On the surface, it tells the story of a fashion designer suddenly struck with a mysterious illness and the enigmatic Filipina caregiver who offers to cure her.
I'm here to help you.
But beneath that, the film explores something much deeper and far more terrifying. It is about the fragile line between science and superstition, about guilt, power, and the invisible weight of colonial histories. At its core, it asks one unsettling question. What happens when belief itself becomes the disease? This horror film blurs the boundaries between the psychological and the supernatural, the personal and the political, the global and the deeply Filipino. This is Nocebo. Let me tell you the story. Nocebo opens with a chilling encounter. Christine, a children's fashion designer, is bitten by a tick carried by a ghostly, disease-ridden dog. What seems like a strange accident quickly spirals into something far more sinister. Christine begins to suffer from a mysterious illness that no doctor can explain. At her weakest, a Filipina caregiver named Diana arrives at her doorstep, claiming she had been hired to help.
I'm here to help you.
Christine's husband, Felix, and their daughter, Bobs, are suspicious. But Diana carries with her relics of folk healing and whispers of powers rooted in the old ways. Despite Felix's protests, Christine allows Diana to treat her, and soon the lines between cure and curse begin to blur. As Diana's presence deepens in the household, strange accidents follow. Birds attack, tempers flare, and trust fractures within the family. But Christine does not yet realize that Diana is not there to heal her. She's there for something much darker. Retribution.
I will take your daughter away from you. Please don't. I'm sorry.
Through unsettling flashbacks, the truth is revealed. Diana once lived in the Philippines with her family until they were displaced and forced into exploitative labor at a sweatshop tied directly to Christine's fashion empire. One tragic fire, one daughter's death, and one unpunished injustice later, Diana carries both grief and vengeance into Christine's home. By the time the final ritual unfolds, Christine can no longer escape. She is forced to relieve the fire she caused, consumed by the same suffering Diana's daughter endured. The punishment is complete, but Diana's story does not end with her death. Instead, her powers pass on to young Bubs, leaving behind a chilling cycle of inheritance, belief, and vengeance. The title of the film already sets the stage. The nocebo effect is the opposite of the placebo effect. Instead of healing, belief itself causes harm. Your body can manifest those symptoms if you are convinced you will get sick. It's a chilling reminder that the mind is sometimes the most dangerous part of the body. In Nocebo, Christine's mysterious illness isn't caused by a virus or a medical condition. It is the result of belief, suggestion, and a curse. Her body crumbles under the weight of her own fears and guilt. The horror here isn't just supernatural, it's psychological. The film shows us how the human mind can be tricked into destroying itself. And this is what makes Nocebo more than a simple horror story. It reflects something real and unsettling about us as people. Our fears, superstitions, even the smallest seeds of doubt, if left unchecked, can grow into monsters that consumes us from the inside out.
You trust a crazy woman?
Nocebo doesn't just rely on jump scares or grotesque imagery. Its horror crawls in from something older, something whispered from generation to generation. The Ongo. In Diana's story, the supernatural isn't just legend, it becomes flesh. As a child, she inherits her powers when a dying witch passes on a black bird that enters her mouth. From then on, she is marked: healer, outcast, feared, and condemned. The Ongo is terrifying because it blurs the line between myth and reality. It is not a monster lurking in the woods, but something that can live inside you, altering your destiny forever. When Diana dies and the same black bird enters Bob's, the horror sharpens. It is not over. The curse, the gift, the power, it continues. This is where folklore becomes more than superstition. It's a living cycle of dread, a vessel carrying pain and injustice from generation to generation. In Nocebo, horror thrives not because of what is seen, but because of what is inherited. A reminder that the darkest stories never die. They only wait to be reborn.
Smile.
Nocebo is not just about a curse, it's about retribution. Christine, the European fashion designer, built her wealth on the backs of underpaid Filipino workers. Diana was one of them. She lost her daughter in the sweatshop fire, a fire that Christine's own decisions helped ignite.
Maybe the door could be locked, so you can make sure no items go missing when the employees leave.
Yes, of course, Mom.
That loss becomes the wound she carries into Christine's home, a wound that festers into vengeance. Diana is not a random intruder. She is history made flesh, the face of the colonized and exploited striking back at the oppressor. Every ritual, every curse, every shadow she calls forth is not just about Christine's body rotting away. It is about forcing her to feel the same suffocation, the same fire, the same anguish that Diana and countless others endured. This isn't quiet horror, it's a scream against centuries of exploitation, against a world that allowed Christine to profit from other people's deaths. Diana doesn't merely want Christine to suffer, she wants her to understand, to burn in the same fire she created. The film doesn't ask us to sympathize with Christine. It asks us to watch as the scales of power violently tip into balance. And in that balance, the horror feels less like evil and more like justice.
You greedy parasite. You're a thick, Christine. Feeding, sucking everything from us.
Nocebo takes its title from something deceptively simple, the idea that belief alone can harm you. Unlike the placebo, which heals through faith, the nocebo destroys. But in this film, it isn't just Christine's belief in Diana's rituals that eats her alive. It's the weight of her guilt, the sins she tried to bury under her success.
I need the little helpers for that.
Who are your little helpers?
Diana weaponizes that belief. Every chant, every shadow in the corner of Christine's home, every black bird that slithers out of her mouth is a reminder that Christine cannot escape the truth. The nocebo effect is not just in her mind, it's in her soul. It strips away her illusions, forces her to confront what she has done, and leaves her to burn in the fire she once ignored. The brilliance of Nocebo is how it turns horror into consequence. This is not random cruelty, it's vengeance carried by faith, folklore, and fury. Christine is destroyed not only by Diana's magic, but also by her belief in that magic. The cracks of guilt that let the curse seep in.
Trust also.
In the end, the nocebo becomes more than a superstition. It's justice made real. A curse that feeds on colonial guilt, corporate greed, and personal cruelty. And in Diana's hands, belief becomes the deadliest weapon. Nocebo is not your typical horror film. It doesn't rely on jump scares or grotesque imagery. Its terror runs deeper, born out of history, exploitation, and the ghost of the oppressed. Diana is not just a witch or a caregiver. She is the embodiment of forgotten pain, of rage that refuses to stay buried. And in the end, her vengeance doesn't just consume Christine. It infects the next generation, passing like a sickness, like an inheritance, like a curse. This is what makes Nocebo unforgettable. It takes the superstition of the Ungo, the science of the Nocebo effect, and the reality of colonial greed and fuses them into one horrifying reminder. The past will always come back, and belief itself can kill. So the next time you dismiss a shadow or laugh at an old folktale, remember, stories carry power. And power, once unleashed, will always find its mark.
sa bintana.